So, good morning. Today we'll be discussing about the last part of our fourth module, which is graphs. So, talking about graphs, today first we'll be discussing about what is a graph, what are the various terminologies that are associated with the graph data structure, and also about how you can represent a graph. What are the various ways of representing a graph? In the second lecture, we'll be discussing about various traversals that are possible in the graph and also about various applications of the graph. So that will end our current module, which is module number 4. So to start with about graph, so as I said, in the case of the tree data structure, here in the case of graph, it is also a two-dimensional or multi-dimensional data structure, which we call it as a non-linear data structure, which means you require at least two dimensions to represent a graph, at least two dimensions. Okay. Second thing that you have to understand while you are talking about graph is that a graph is always cyclic in its structure. So whenever you talk about a graph, there will be cycles or there will be a closed path that could connect one node back to itself. So this is a cyclic property of a graph. Then you can best use a graph data structure when you have to represent many to many relationships between the elements of the graph, or if you have some elements or if you have some data that are having many to many relationships within themselves, then it is advised to represent them with the help of a graph data structure. So what you see here are examples of graph data structure. So this is a directed graph, whereas this is an undirected graph. So what do you mean by a directed graph? A directed graph is a graph where you can see edges having a direction. Okay, edges having an arrow mark, which we call as a direction. So if the edges of a graph is having a direction, then such kind of a graph is called a directed graph. If the edges are not having any direction, then they are called uh, undirected graph. Okay, so what you see here is a directed graph, whereas this one is an undirected graph. Now there are two major role players, edges and vertices. So all those circular shape that you see here are nodes of the graph, which we call as vertices or vertex of the graph. Okay, all those lines, whether it be directed or undirected, all those lines that connects between the successive uh, nodes are known as edges of a graph. So when you can have a common edge between two given nodes, then you can say they are adjacent to each other. I repeat, when you have a directed or undirected edge between two nodes of a given graph, then those nodes are said to be adjacent to each other. So let's start with knowing more of the details about the graph. So there are some real life applications where you can make use of the graph data structure. When you talk about the airline network of a city, just go Google for the airline network of London or airline network of some other popular cities, and you can see that that network is connected using a graph. So that is one primary example or primary application that where you can see the concept of a graph being employed. Second is in the case of a source destination network, or what we call a computer network, where you are trying to send something from a source to a corresponding destination. Then you will be shown with all the possible routes that can be made possible to successfully deliver this packet from, or successfully deliver the message from source to destination. So that is the second one, which is source destination network. Third one is Konigsberg's bridges, which is actually a puzzle. Okay, it's actually a puzzle or a mathematical problem which was trying to identify the solution for the given problem, and that problem, the solution was also made using the graph data structure. I'll give you an insight into Konigsberg's bridges. Then when you talk about the flowchart of a program, it is a perfect example where you can use the graph data structure, because all those scenarios that you encounter, all those cyclic loops, all those sequential executions, all those are that can be taken as parts of a graph. Now let's see what is Königsberg's bridge problem. So Königsberg is actually a city where you have got four major parts: A, B, C, and D. Okay, so there are four major subparts of the city, which is Königsberg, and there is a river called Prigal, which is flowing through the city. Okay, and the city is being divided into A, B, C, and D because of the flow of this river called Prigal. Okay, so what you're going to do is that you have got seven bridges that connect between A to B, B to A to C, C to A to D, then D to B, D to C, and so on. There are seven bridges available. Okay. Now your problem with the Königsberg's bridges is that you should create a path which will travel through all the bridges exactly once. That is the problem. So you have got four regions. You have got one big city called the Königsbergs, and the Königsberg city. Inside the Königsberg city, you have a river which is called Pregel, that is flowing across the city, and it has divided the city into four different parts, which is A, B, C, and D. There are seven bridges available which connects between these subregions, and your problem is whether it is possible to cross all bridges exactly once. Whether it is possible to cross all bridges exactly once. And the solution for this was to identify how you can represent these seven bridges with the help of a graph. So what you can see here is a graph where you can see all those nodes A, B, C, and D are represented, and uh, all those bridges are represented as edges. Then you could apply the graph property to find out how you can travel through all the bridges exactly once using a graph traversal. Okay, so that was done. So this is about the Königsberg's bridge problem. So this was the problem, and the graph data structure could find a solution for it. Moving further, so this is the definition for a graph data structure. Yep. So this is the definition where it's a graph, and it is a combination of two sets. The first set being the set of all vertices, which we call as V, and the second is the set of all edges, which we call as E. Okay, so when you talk about an edge, it is nothing but an ordered pair of its vertices. Okay, so when you talk about an edge, if there is an edge existing between two nodes, then those two nodes will jointly define the edge. Okay, so a graph is going to consist of a graph G is going to consist of two sets. The first set is V, which is known as the set of all vertices or set of all nodes of the graph. Then the second one is set of all edges, which we call the set of pairs of vertices. So when you talk about representing a graph, you can represent the graph as G as a combination of V and E, where V is the set of all vertices, E is the set of all edges. So that is the definition for the graph data structure. Moving further, let's introduce some of the very basic terminologies associated with graph. So first one that we have discussed before, a digraph or a directed graph. A directed graph is a graph where you have some set of vertices and some set of edges, but the edges are having a direction. So if you have a direction to go, then you will say, so if you have two vertices A and B, and there is a directed edge connecting between A and B pointed to B, then that edge will be represented as A comma B, because it is starting from A and it's ending at B. So that edge is known as A comma B. So if all the edges of the graph are directed edges, then such kind of a graph is known as digraph or directed graph. Second one is weighted graph. So if each of the edges are having a numerical value associated with it, which we call as the weight. Suppose take the primary example as a Google map. Okay, so when you are asking the Google map to find out the route to a particular destination, suppose you are going from Chenganur to uh, Pala or Chenganur to yeah, somewhere around, which is Pala. Take it as Pala. So you can see the Google map will show you all the possible routes, right? So the Google map will show you all the possible routes. So when you, and it will be pointing to the shortest route possible, shortest and best route possible. So if you just go check it each of these routes, you can see that there is a value which is the distance from this particular position to Pala if you take that route. Okay, the kilometers that you have to uh, undergo, or the kilometers that you have to pass if you are going to take that particular route. So that is the primary example of a weighted edge. Okay, so when you talk about an edge connecting between two vertices, if you are associating with it a numerical value, then that numerical value is called a weight. So if all the edges of the graph are having a numerical value called weight, then such kind of a graph is called a weighted graph. Moving further about the adjacent vertices, as I said, if there is an edge from a vertex Vi to a vertex Vj, whether it be directed or undirected, if there is an edge between two given vertices, then those vertices are said to be adjacent to each other. When you talk about directed graph, if there is a directed edge from Vi to Vj, then you say that Vj is adjacent to Vi. But the opposite cannot be correct, because if there is no directed edge back from Vj to Vi, you cannot say that Vj is adjacent to Vi. So in the case of a directed graph, if there is a directed edge from Vi to Vj, then you say Vj is adjacent to Vi. But the vice versa or the opposite cannot serve. If there is a directed edge from Vj to Vi, then you can say that Vi is adjacent to Vj. But if that's not the case, then you cannot claim the same. So, now moving on to the next terminology, self loop. Okay, so if there is an edge that starts from a particular node and ends at itself, if there is an edge from a node to itself, then such kind of an edge is known as a self loop. Okay, so it is an edge, not a path. It is an edge whose starting and ending vertices are the same. Moving further, we talk about parallel edges. So when I mentioned the Google map, okay, it was actually corresponding to parallel edges, because your source node and the destination node are exactly the same, but you are having multiple routes to go. So all these routes are connecting from the source to the destination. So that is the primary example of a parallel edge. If there are more than one edge between two given vertices, then those edges are called parallel edges. Moving further, you talk about symbol graph, okay, a symbol graph or a symbol digraph. So if there is a graph that contains no parallel edge or no self loop, such kind of a graph is called a symbol graph or symbol digraph if we are talking about a directed graph. If the directed graph is not containing any parallel edges or any self loop, in that case that digraph is known as a symbol digraph. Okay, remember when you're talking about a directed graph, the parallel edges should be also having the same direction. Okay, so if you talk about Vi and Vj, there should be two edges that goes from Vi to Vj. Okay, you cannot take an edge from Vi to Vj and an edge from Vj to Vi as parallel. But in the case of an undirected graph, an edge from Vi to Vj is parallel to any other edge that is connecting between Vi and Vj. Next, you talk about complete graph. Okay, so complete graph. A graph is said to be complete if there exists an edge from a given node Vi to all the other nodes of the graph. I repeat, if you have a separate edge from a given node Vi to all the other nodes of the graph, then that graph is said to be a complete graph. Okay, you should have edges, not a path. It should be edges. Okay, if you have separate edges from a given node Vi to all the other nodes of the graph, then that graph is said to be complete. Okay. Next is cycle. So a graph is said to have a cycle if a path containing one or more edges start from a vertex Vi and terminate at the same vertex. Okay. So a graph is said to be a cyclic graph. Graph is said to be a cyclic graph if you can find a path that starts from a particular node and ends back at the same node. If that is the case, we say that there exists a cycle inside the graph and the graph is a cyclic graph. Moving further, a cyclic graph. So a cyclic graph is a graph where you cannot find a cycle at all. Even though the underlying graph is connected to each other, if you cannot find in the case of digraph, okay, in the case of digraph, if there is no directed edge or directed path that could take you from a particular graph, from a particular vertex back to itself, then such kind of a graph is called a cyclic graph. Okay, so if a particular graph is not containing any cycle, that graph is called a cyclic graph. Okay, that graph is called a cyclic graph. So when you talk about tree is a perfect example of a graph with no cycles. So the relation between graph and tree is that tree is an acyclic graph. Next, isolated vertex. As the name says, if a vertex is not having any connection with any of the other vertices, such kind of a graph is known as, such kind of a vertex is known as isolated vertex. If you don't have a edge, if you don't have an edge to this particular vertex from any of the other vertex of the graph, then such kind of a graph is called uh, isolated, that such kind of a vertex is called isolated vertex. Next is degree of a vertex. So what was the degree of a tree? When we discussed the degree of a tree, it was the number of children. Degree of the tree was the maximum of the degrees of all the nodes in the tree. Now when you talk about the degree of a vertex or degree of a node in the tree, it was the number of children that was produced from that particular node, right? So when you say about the degree of a node in a tree, it is the number of children that particular node was having. When you talk about the degree of a vertex in the case of a graph, okay, when you talk about the degree of a vertex in the case of a graph, it is about the number of edges that is emerging from that particular vertex. Okay, number of edges that are emerging from the particular vertex is called the degree of the vertex. When you talk about a digraph, okay, in the case of an undirected graph, you have only one representation, and that is called degree. Okay, but when you talk about an when you talk about a directed graph, okay, it's not undirected, it is directed graph. When you talk about a directed graph, there you have to consider two types of degrees. First one is in degree and the second one is out degree. So as the name says, in degree is the number of edges that are coming to a given vertex. I repeat, in degree is the number of edges that are pointed to the vertex or that are coming into the vertex. Whereas out degree is the number of edges that are leaving from the vertex. In degree, this is only in the case of directed graph. In the case of undirected graph, you only have one thing, and that is called degree, which talks about the number of edges emerging or number of edges connected to that particular vertex. But when you talk about a directed graph, you have in degree and out degree. In degree is the number of edges that comes into that vertex, and out degree is the number of edges leaving the vertex. Next, pendant vertex. Okay, so pendant vertex. What is a pendant? A pendant is the locket that you could find at the end of a chain, right? So a pendant is having a peculiarity. A pendant is connected to the chain through only one single connection, right? You will have a connection that connects the pendant with the rest of the chain. So, how can you use the same terminology in the case of a graph? So, this is a peculiarity only available in the case of a digraph. Okay, you don't have a pendant vertex in the case of an undirected graph. So, when you talk about a pendant vertex, it is a pendant vertex is a vertex inside a directed graph where you can find its in degree as 1 and out degree 0, which means it has got only one connection and that connection is coming to the vertex, but there is no connection which is going back from the vertex. So in degree is equal to 1, out degree is equal to 0. This is in the case of a directed graph, and such kind of a vertex is called pendant vertex. Next is connected graph. Okay, so you have complete graph, you have connected graph. Please don't confuse them with each other. So a complete graph is a graph where you can find out individual edges from a given node to all the other nodes of the graph. That is complete graph. But when you talk about a connected graph, first you have to say two vertices Vi and Vj are said to be connected, not adjacented. Two vertices Vi and Vj that can be geographically separated anywhere, any point of the graph. They are said to be connected if you can find a path from Vi to Vj or Vj to Vi. Okay, if there exists a path. Now what is this path? Path is a combination of edges. Path is nothing but a combination or a sequential ordering of edges. So when you say there is a path from Vi to Vj, you can reach from Vi to Vj through so many number of edges, and that so many number of edges is called a path. So, if you can find a path from any vertex to any other vertex in a given graph, then that graph is said to be a connected graph. Okay. So, if there exists a path from any vertex Vi to any other vertex Vj in a given graph, then such kind of a graph is called a connected graph. Okay. So, when you talk about a digraph, there is two property which is strongly connected and weakly connected. Okay, it is not available in the case of a directed graph. So, sorry, undirected graph. So, a digraph is said to be strongly connected if there is a directed path from any vertex Vi to any other vertex Vj. and also if there is a directed path from Vj to Vi. So if there is a directed path from Vi to Vj and a directed path back from Vj to Vi, then such kind of a digraph is called a strongly connected graph. Okay, so when you talk about weakly connected digraph, then the graph, the underlying graph is a connected graph, but the digraph is not strongly connected. Such kind of a digraph is called weakly connected graph, which means the underlying graph, the normal graph is connected. We can find a path from any node to any other node if the graph was a undirected graph. But it is a digraph, but and you cannot find a path from any vertex to any other vertex and from the destination vertex back to the source vertex. In that case, we'll say this digraph is a weakly connected graph because the underlying graph is connected. Even though it is connected, you cannot express the connectivity. Such kind of a digraph is called weakly connected digraph. Finally, multigraph. So a multigraph is a graph which will have multiple edges or parallel edges between multiple vertex of the graph. So if you can find uh, a graph which supports parallel edges, such kind of a graph is called a multigraph. So when a simple graph is a graph containing no self loops or no parallel edges, a multigraph is a graph that can support parallel edges. So these are the graph terminologies. Now about the representation, I'll be discussing in my next lecture. Thank you.